Get the Intel, the podcast meant for those of us trying to find out what the hell is going on in the field. Here we discuss tools, techniques, and approaches that you can implement to streamline operations and let you focus on your craft.
Hello, Chad Gill here. I am the host of the Get the Intel podcast, where I talk with leaders in facilities management, architecture, and contracting and more. Workforce Recon is a sponsor of this podcast. Recon is a project tracking software that connects the office to the field. Their app, Field Recon, is built with a field-first mentality. Developed by contractors for contractors, it includes time and asset tracking, messaging, job documentation, and scheduling all in one place, so you can see what's going on in the field. Check us out at workforcerecon.com to see your operations in real time. Laminin Coaching is another sponsor of this podcast. Laminin is a business coaching company with a focus on contractors in and around construction. We not only help with proposing solutions and methods, but we implement them in your business as well. After all, good ideas are not useful until they're implemented. So visit us at laminincoach.com to see the full range of our services. So joining me today is Mike Bratten. He is a professional structural engineer located in South Central Texas that manages a small engineering firm. He leads a group of 13 people consisting of drafting technicians, graduate engineers, and other professional engineers, and has personally led numerous projects of all sizes throughout the state of Texas. He himself is taking a responsive, proactive, and hands-on approach with all of his projects and clients. So, Mike, I appreciate you joining me today. Thanks for taking the time out and see if we can learn a little bit about the engineering side of construction.
That was good. Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'm excited. Definitely always interested in podcasts. I listen to them myself. So, it's cool to be on one now.
Yeah. See, that you can't say you haven't done it now. It'll be good
right.
That's right. This is my second one, so this is good.
All right. We're going to be great.
Yeah, exactly. So, what is your main, your main business, for your group?
So we specialize in private commercial projects. We work all over the state of Texas, and we're even licensed throughout most of the Southeast United States. We've got a little bit of momentum going outside the state of Texas, but I mean, Texas is so large, we're staying busy. Every day we get new projects in, but we specialize in all sorts of structures, retail, multi-story, tilt wall type projects. We do warehouses, painting and metal building, getting things together for that, doing the foundation design for that, but also getting things together for the plans and stuff for the building itself and their design. We do apartments, we do cast in place retaining walls, even some troubleshooting, investigating existing conditions for just kind of visual observations on what's happening and getting the right consultants together to figure out how to remedy something or help a tenant out, so. Yeah.
So we have a friend that does, he's a roof consultant designer. They put together systems, and most of the time they're working with like a select group of manufacturers or something like that. Is that the way when you're dealing with metal buildings and building packages, do you have certain manufacturers you use, or are you guys kind of agnostic?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has their favorites, right? We have a lot of close relationships with people that are, local to the San Antonio area or around San Antonio, or maybe even work in regions that we see a lot of their buildings, going up. And so we build those relationships, and then we work hand in hand with them, or even recommend them for clients that we know are developing those kind of projects, and stuff. So we've had some really good experiences, and then some not so good, so we kind of try to lend to the better, side of things. So yeah,
I think we've all been there on that.
Oh yeah.
So you come to so you have a material testing background as well as structural, is that correct?
Yeah. So I started out, in 2008, looking for a job when, recession happened and kicked in and stuff. It's pretty hard to find something. Through college, I worked with a company and built a lot of things, welding woodwork kind of stuff, and through them kind of brought on with a project management aspect, kind of overseeing the team. So I had a little bit of experience, that I think I brought to the table, and found a job with Terracom Consultants here in San Antonio, a pretty large group, and their materials testing department needed a project manager, and so came in March of 2008 and worked there for just over 4 years, and then switched over to the structural design side.
So the project management, does it make you design buildings differently now that you've seen how, the trials of building it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of things learned with the project management side that definitely helped me in transitioning and doing the design. I think one of the biggest things is just being able to navigate multiple things at once, being able to keep track of quite a few projects going at the same time, and kind of knowing what needs to happen when to make the deadlines. I don't think that's something easily learned, and definitely not something you learn in school. But also getting out and seeing how things are built, that was probably one of my biggest benefits from working with Terracon. Reading plans, looking at what's presented on the plans, going out in the field, seeing how it's actually built, and kind of understanding what anomalies might occur or little things to look for, stuff like that, and I do think it's helped in at least being able to take on the design side and really understanding how is this building going to get put together, and make sure design in that realm.
Well, I don't want to villainize architects, but they do it themselves. But how do you manage that? Do you guys run into a lot of, I don't know, struggle, or a lot of, I don't know what the right word for it is, but I mean, like when you're trying to say, yeah, this is how much you need in order to hold it up, and they're like, yeah, but I don't want it to look like that, or
Oh yeah, I mean, it's we have different architects we work with, and each one of them brings a different aspect of project level detailing to the table. Sometimes we got to kind of just understand what they look for because of what we've done with them in the past, and similar type projects, and kind of stay one step ahead of them, and help kind of drive the project and the framing, and at least how things are coming together. We have a little saying we've been doing so much with so little for so long, we can do almost anything with nothing. And so as Bob Harding, an old colleague of mine that used to work with us and really kind of showed me the ropes when I started out with the design side, told me that, and it's kind of stuck, and something we joke around about quite a bit. But I think just being hands-on and really understanding what it takes to hold up the architect's idea, hold it up in the air and keep it structurally sound, can really already start to kind of build your model and what you need there, and kind of understanding that. But yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, it reminds me of a sweatshirt my wife got me one time and said, engineers solving
Right.
problems you didn't know you had in ways you can't understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's RMO.
That's it. So I wouldn't be a concrete guy if I didn't ask you, why are you messing around with wood and steel?
Yeah.
I guess it has its place. How do you, when you talk about that, I mean, of course, everybody's got their favorite, and my whole career has been around concrete, so that would explain mine. But how do you make the choices between the two, or are you often just handed the thing and said it's got to be wood or it's got to be steel?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times architects kind of shake that out a little bit with what their expectations are for performance of the building, economics. They've done, a lot of things you'll see is that architects, they kind of stay in their lane, and we tend to as well, where, if they're retail experts, then they'll stay in the retail, or if they're, multi-story MOBs or office buildings, they'll kind of stay in that realm as well. Sometimes we do get kind of the mix, and we're not really sure what's going to be better, in all honesty. And so that's where we'll work with them in the schematic design phase, and maybe give a couple of options, and send it out to contractors for preliminary bids and just see where they land. And that really tends to drive things. Or maybe if they have a contractor on board and he prefers to work with one or the other, that could help too, because if he's, if you got a contractor on board and he's wanting to work with this, but you don't go that route, his price is going to be a little different, I'm sure. He's not getting the schedule he wants or the flexibility he wants or things like that, or she. So I think a lot of that's kind of just lends to the type of project, concrete, we see there's a couple things with concrete, right, where you could do cast in place, but there's a lot of formwork involved with that. There's a lot of shoring, things like that. You see a lot of that lend to more like the public work or the heavier, more robust or fancier type buildings. We do a lot of tilt wall as well, and that kind of lends to the building footprint, not only the length and width, but also the height of the building, so will they be able to lay panels down on the foundation? How will that kind of situate for constructability? Will they have to do a lot of casting beds, things like that? Those kind of lend to some of those decisions. Or even just the complexity of the exterior and the facade and things and what architects want to do. If they want to do some crazy openings and things like that, then maybe steel might be a better way to go. But if it's all pretty symmetrical, or you can split it up and be able to get your tilt wall panels or things like that in a nice orderly fashion, then that's a pretty good way to go about it. And it's nice, robust, and it's pretty quick to put up in the air too.
Yeah, sooner you can get a roof on it, faster you can get people to work in it.
Yeah. I mean, within a day or two, you'll have the building go from nothing on the ground to boom, you got it up in the air, and the skyline is different.
Yeah, that is it. Yeah, tilt walls are fast. They are pretty impressive. And is there a reason, like, can you tilt a wall either way, like where the bottom is at the, like versus coming up as opposed to just tilting it straight up? I mean, is there a structural reason that they do them the way they do them, or does it depend?
I think it's more of like tilt walls, they're cast with the outside face down. I think that's mainly for aesthetics. Like you get that nice flat finish on the outside face because you're casting on top of the foundation. Plus all of the where you hook it up to the crane is now all facing on the inside, so it can be patched and it's not so ugly per se. Or maybe it's not even patched at all because it's going to get covered by insulation and it's still a solid section of concrete on the other side of it. But it just creates a nice, finish on the outside, I think, is why they do it the way they do. And they want the top end on the outside, so and then boom, it's up, so they don't just spin it around too much or mess with it. Yeah,
they're impressive to watch.
Oh yeah,
you don't like to see them fall down, that's for sure.
Fingers crossed. Never seen one so far. Hopefully I can say I never do. At least not anything I'm associated with.
Yeah, I mean, even on YouTube, it makes you nervous.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a lot of weight up in the air.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's tremendous. So, what do you see as, like, what are the, if you're like, man, if only people would do this, it would make my job so much easier. Is there anything that comes to your mind on that one?
Yeah, they just make a nice rectangle box, just
okay.
4 sides, solid. Man, I mean, our price would be a lot cheaper. I don't know. I think just people doing their due diligence, and really paying attention to what they're trying to do. And the architects that we work with that we really enjoy working with are really good at that, and they know what it takes, and they're very detail oriented. We've come across some that just really aren't, and it's surprising because you would think just anybody in this industry would be very detail oriented and know what they need, where, and stuff like that. But I think just, people kind of making sure they understand what it is that they're trying to design, and knowing the ins and outs and stuff. And it's really hard when you have to try to teach somebody when you don't really have the time for it, but also, you're not necessarily the expert. You just know enough to be dangerous. And so yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect, of course. And I think everybody learns from experience, and to get that experience, you gotta get your feet wet. So, just making sure you're staying, attentive of that, I think, is the best thing for everybody.
Yeah, we always experience is a nicer way of saying I remember my mistakes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, for sure. And you gotta make mistakes to learn, I mean, you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I mean, sometimes you run into architects and the plans are very detailed and they're they're excellent. And others, you just open it and I swear you're expecting to just say build hospital here with a Google map. It's just very and make sure that it's not too expensive.
I mean, it's tough, we get requests to do, hey, can you give me a number for this building? And it's just a site plan with a box on it. And I have no idea anything about it. Say, oh, it's 2 stories and gonna be this and that. Okay, well, if my number's high, don't get mad at me about it. I don't know anything about the project, so.
Can you give me a number on this building? Yeah, 2113. What is that? It's the address. Right. It's the number you should put on your building.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Not all I can help with today.
Yeah.
No, man, that's fantastic. It's like I said, I'm sure that Texas has its own unique environment and stuff like that, but mostly because y'all are half of the country. But
yeah, you got a little bit of everything. Even just the San Antonio area. I mean, you got expansive clays, you got limestone, and anything in between. You got sand, to build on, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. It'll keep you busy, keep you interested. Never the same thing.
Yeah, I would say you don't get any snow delays, but you guys had one not too long ago. I mean, I guess it
did, yeah. Yeah, a couple of years ago, and gosh, we had, we've had some clients respond to that, a little conservatively, that are, the code says this, but we want to use this, and they're designing heavier structures because of it, even though it's not really necessary, but I guess to each their own.
Absolutely. Hey man, if you want to pay for it, we'll build what you want.
Sure. Yep.
Exactly. Well, man, this has been great. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know the engineering side of it, it doesn't get the, it doesn't win the awards for the beautiful building, although that's the only reason the thing is still standing.
Yeah.
And same types of things. And but that's the life. That is the life of the engineer.
Yes, sir. Yeah. That's right.
Well, that's fantastic, man. I wish you luck with it. And, I don't know if you really said this or not, but we'll just put in there that you said concrete was better. That way we can all leave with a win.
100%. Yes, sir. I love concrete.
Yeah, better for some things, I guess. Who knows?
That's for
I
sure.
wouldn't want to sleep on it. Yeah, that's for sure. But, well, you enjoy it, man. Thank you for taking the time and kind of talking to us a little bit about that side of the construction.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you soon.
Thanks for listening to Get the Intel. We'll see you next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.